Good evening, and welcome to Twin Island Media Live for this Tuesday, the 9th day of June 2026. This is the show where we bring you the conversations that matter, at least we think they matter. And tonight we have a powerhouse guest joining us. He's a man who sits at the intersection of finance, community, and growth, right? And he is the Marketing and Business Development Officer, the Community First Cooperative Credit Union, proudly the largest credit union in Antigua and Barbuda. Our guests can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I have that on fairly good authority. Anyway, from helping families achieve the dream of home ownership to driving financial awareness across our communities, this gentleman is on a mission to ensure that every Antiguan and Barbudan has access to real financial opportunity. Of course, himself not alone. He's the face and the marketing mind behind Community First, but of course he has a team that supports his efforts, that work in the office, that interacts with clients on a day-to-day basis. Please welcome to Twin Island Media Live, Jime Hunte. He is the, make sure I get it right, Jime, you are the Marketing and Business Development Officer at Community First Cooperative Credit Union.
Good night. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, sir. It's a pleasure to have you. And it's certainly an opportunity for us to explore some themes that hopefully will redound to the benefit of current members and future members and quiet members who may not have done something recently. We can start with financial literacy. It's a term that we hear a lot, and many people may not fully understand what it means in a real everyday context. Tell us, from a Community First point of view, define financial literacy for us, and why is it so critical for the people of Antigua and Barbuda generally, not just Community First members?
Well, good night again, and thank you for having me. Some of the things that I've observed since being at Community First is a lot of persons have a lot of aspirations with building homes, owning vehicles, preparing for retirement. They don't know where to begin, but the origin, before coming to us, they would have made missteps with borrowing. They would have made missteps with savings. They would have made missteps with not understanding how to budget, with not understanding how to prepare for retirement. So when they think that they are at the moment to pursue home ownership, there are a lot of stumbling blocks in their way, especially right now with the advent of the credit bureau, where we can check your credit history, and that's not just with us. That's with all financial institutions. That's with other lending institutions that are not banks or credit unions. That's with essential services like APA. That's with the court systems. So a lot of these things come into play with major lending and your credit score. So that's where some of the issues with financial literacy starts. We also have issues with individuals not understanding the importance of saving for a rainy day. And yes, we all know things happen. We all know that things will go wrong, but saving $1, saving $10, it's all about discipline. It's all about starting the journey and ensuring that you stick on the journey. So when you make more money, you can save more money. We also have seen that not a lot of people are prepared for retirement. And that is the most alarming thing I've seen so far. Persons in their mind don't think they're going to get old. They don't think that they're going to need to have a backup plan. A lot of people think that their kids are their retirement plans. Investing in their kids is their retirement plans. And I think that's selfish and unfair to rely on children as you get older. You have to put things in place that when you get older, you have that retirement plan, you have that nest egg that you would have saved over the years that you can rely on in your golden years. So those are some of the base things that I've observed so far.
Right. Some powerful themes came out there, Jime. Some very powerful themes. A lot of things that people think about too. Interesting, you made the point about you never think you'll get old. I'm sure we both remember when we graduated school or college, and it seemed like just the other day.
Did.
And as my childhood best friend, whose birthday is today, Steve Graham in Canada, he saw my beard and he said, "Darren, boy, you know, the age is telling." But
Mhm.
on a serious note, though, what about Social Security? Do people, I mean, what do people have a view about Social Security? They assume that Social Security is going to take care of them, and when they say, "Why should I save for retirement?" There's Social Security. How you respond to them with that?
Well, I try to add shock value when I go out and I speak about financial literacy because I do it a lot in different organizations. A lot of businesses invite us to speak to their
Mm-hmm.
staff about saving and retirement planning.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them bluntly, I don't expect Social Security to exist when I turn 65, God willing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
expect that. I am operating that Social Security will not exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a backup. I have my nest egg that I am preparing for. So when I
Mm-hmm.
turn 65, I am self-reliant. I have accumulated enough savings that I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to rely on a social security. If there's social security, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But I am not operating in that mind frame. And I do, and that's some of the things that when I go in and speak to persons, we don't encourage them to
Mm-hmm.
rely on social security. Don't rely on that pension. Don't rely on that kickback. You need to put money aside for yourself. Make that disciplined decision to
Mm-hmm.
open an IRA, individual retirement account, whether it's with us or any other financial institution.
Mm-hmm.
But starting is the most important thing.
Right, understood. Now, research across the Caribbean consistently shows that financial literacy levels are low, even among young people who you think should know better. What specific initiatives does CFCCU have on the ground to change that, to educate your members about the importance of, well, planning their lives from a financial point of view in a disciplined and visionary way to achieve the goals that you pointed out: the house, the car, and of course, retirement, emergencies like healthcare, that kind of thing.
Well, generally, I think that we need to start in primary school. That's just me speaking out loud. We need to start teaching kids about budgeting. Giving them $20, $10, whatever it is, and having them show how they plan to spend and how they plan to save money from that from primary school. On the community first side, we created the teens workshop, the teens level up workshop last year, where we had teens the age between 15 and 17. 2-day workshop, and we taught them life skills, not just work preparation. We taught them life skills, budgeting, saving, ethics, workplace etiquette, conflict resolution. So we did a 2-hour session on budgeting, financial planning, and retirement, even though they were 15, 17. We also have an empowerment series that we do with our members every year. That is a 3-day series where we teach our members about the ins and outs of small businesses, the ins and outs of lending, the ins and outs of saving, investing, and retirement. So we are, of course, a nonprofit institution. So part of our mantra is investing in our members with their education and their financial literacy.
Right. Now, some people feel that financial education is too complex and not for them. What would you say to someone who believes managing money is only for the wealthy and the financially educated? Manana money for save, basically what comes in, APA and food and transportation, and of course, a roof over the head, takes all of it or almost all of it. So I don't have time for all of that. I'm sure you get that. That's
Yeah.
probably a
And
common thing.
it is very common that we hear. And one of the things that we say when we hear that is that little money, a dollar will seem too little to someone with that makes bad financial decisions. Because I'm pretty sure that if you don't know how to spend $10, it's going to be too little to you. And if
Hmm.
you had $100,000 and you don't know how to budget it, it's going to still be too little to you because you don't understand
Hmm.
how to manage money. So
Right.
starting small, starting with $100 or $50, what have you, is going to
Yeah.
is going to create building blocks for the future and invest in more. Because we all expect that through our different stages in life that we're not going to be making the same money that we started. So therefore, we should be investing as much as we move along in the stages of life.
Words of wisdom from Jime Hunte. Let's talk about home ownership. We pivot a little bit to home ownership because that's one of the areas that community first, invests a lot of or allocates a lot of resources towards in terms of your membership. Owning a home is arguably the biggest financial milestone in somebody's life, the biggest investment. What role does community first play in making home ownership a reality for everyday Antiguans and Barbudans that may feel it's out of reach? And you touched a theme along that line a little earlier.
Yes. So of course, one of the rules of the credit union is to make ordinary workers or ordinary people get access to financing that they normally would not qualify for in a traditional financial institution. Because at a traditional financial institution, you go, you have a deposit, you make enough money, you get a loan, or you don't get a loan. You get denied, you have to wait another 5 to 10 years before they would have made the adjustments to get the loan. I'm just being realistic, because
Okay.
let's say the mortgage is $500,000
Yes.
to build a home. You're going to need between 5 to 10% of that to as a deposit if you don't have the collateral in land. So what we do and what the difference is between us and a traditional financial institution, we have savings vehicles that are tailored towards persons that are looking to build. So you might not qualify you might not have the deposit at the moment. We have a foundation savings account that is a high yield savings account that can only be used for building purposes, for purchasing a piece of land, for deposits for homes, purchasing furniture, closing costs. That's all it can be used for. So these are the things that a credit union does to give back to the members by when they invest. So
Right.
having these types of accounts gives us the way to create home ownership for persons who typically would not get it right away.
All right. And how people respond to that? I mean, how long would it take? People say, Lord, it could take me how many years to save up enough to do that? That's the
Well,
challenge that many people will have.
I think the maturity date for that account is 14 months. And I think it's a
Oh,
more aggressive savings account. So I think it's like $150 or $200 a month you have to save. But the interest rate again is
at
very
minimum.
attractive. Yes, at
At
minimum.
minimum. Oh,
You
okay.
can contribute more. So the more you contribute, of course, is the more you yield. And that directly goes towards home ownership. So it drastically reduces the time that you would have to sit and save by yourself to get the money you would need to start your home ownership journey.
Okay, I'm looking here at my next question. You've touched some of the themes. Well, you haven't really said much about interest rates, but you can. I know financial institutions don't like to get too much into interest rates when they're having these interviews. I've done enough of them to know.
I think my CEO would have my head if I did that, so I would not do that.
He's not listening. Let's
I'm
assume
pretty sure
he's not
he is.
listening.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Okay, listen. So interest rates, down payments, credit scores, many hurdles on the path to home ownership. What are some of the top three things that someone should do today if they're serious about purchasing a home over the next 2, 3 years? Somebody who's in their mid-20s, they already have their car. Usually that's what young people go for first, right? They want the car so they can go and look for the boyfriend and the girlfriend, right?
Mhm.
Speaking from experience. And then you yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about. And then
Mhm.
you of course you're thinking, okay, boyfriend and girlfriend usually come, is the precursor to other things, so you want your own space. So tell us specifically what are some of the things that folks should zero in on to achieve that objective. I suspect that the foundation account is one
Foundation
of
savings.
them, right? So tell us about some of the other things that you'll have in terms of discussions with your I was going to say clients, with your members. I have to be
Yes.
careful with those terms.
Yes. So the first thing we're going to do is stay
Mm,
away from predatory lending and payday loans. A lot of individuals do payday loans. They go and get cash advance for the payday for the salary, and
mhm,
it it adds up and it can destroy your credit because I understand again that finances may be tight and you need the cash and and
mhm,
and you need it right away. But look at it this way. You do 3 cash advances on your salary. That is a loan that you have to declare when you come in for your appointment. That money that takes away from what you can qualify for. That takes away from what you can qualify for. The car note, the extra loans, those take away from what you qualify for. So the first thing I would do is try to zero. If you have payday loans or loans that are super, zero those first before applying. The second thing I would do is have life insurance. Life insurance is the biggest tool you can have when applying for a mortgage. Because if you have life insurance, the only thing you would need to do is increase the amount on your policy, right, depending on what you qualify for. And that's the biggest hurdle in one of the biggest hurdles you would have in qualifying for a loan. Because I think typically with us, once you have insurance, the turnaround time is just about 14 days for a mortgage.
Okay, that's very impressive.
Yes, yeah, we do have a team that works 6 days a week, so they do turnaround mortgages fairly fast. So having insurance is very important, and speaking to one of the team members throughout the journey. When you're starting, when you're thinking about building a home, you have the land or you don't have the land, come in and have conversations. A lot of things can change based on the conversations you have, adjustments you might need to make, maybe tailor your expectations of what you qualify for. All of these things can either shorten your application period or lengthen your application period. So having conversations with the team, that's very vital.
All right, the technical director, if you see me looking down every now and again, there's some devices I have in front of me. And so folks are either reacting or I'm sharing or letting people know to join the live, either on Facebook or on YouTube. I need to remind to tell people we're on YouTube. So even if you don't get a chance to see us now, because you're busy getting the kids for bed or whatever, you can always go on YouTube and Facebook for that matter, depending on your preference, and you can benefit from the conversations that we have here on Twin Island Media Live. And usually, most of the views come in the morning after. I don't know, it's a weird thing. People just, I guess, want to hear me in the morning. And it's a weird thing. I don't understand. Anyway, the technical director is shouting at me that we need to take a break. He's not really shouting. He's just reminding me to take a break. So we'll do that. And when we come back, we are going to wrap up. Actually, I think we wrapped up the home ownership part of it. I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to highlight as it relates to home ownership. I think you have some initiatives coming up, so you can wrap up that. And then we'll talk about why credit unions matter. Many people say, hey, I'm happy with my bank. Why should I consider a credit union? We'll talk about that right after this.
Every home starts with a plan and a solid foundation. With Community First Foundation Savings Account, you can save for down payments, closing costs, and major home repairs one step at a time. Designed for first-time buyers and homeowners alike, this account encourages disciplined saving with a simple start and 12-month savings period that keeps your goals on track. Build smarter, save stronger with a foundation savings only at Community First Cooperative Credit Union. Because strong homes start with strong foundations.
Are you ready to paint? Casada Paints and Supplies Inc. is the perfect place to start. We are the official distributors of Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams, with over 150 years of innovation and experience, offers more than 1,500 paint colors to choose from. Our color palettes are handpicked by professional designers, making it easy to coordinate colors throughout your home or business. Visit us on the Utility Drive, Casada Gardens, or call 562-9450. All you have to do is visit or call Casada Paints.
This is Twin Island Media Live for this June the 9th day of June. It's a Tuesday evening. Thank you so much for those of you who've been able to join us, along with my very special guest, Jime Hunte of the Community First Cooperative Credit Union. And I'm very happy to have him tonight and learning a few things myself, right? Never too old to learn. Let's put it this way. Similar themes, but different perspective. And that part about if you can't manage a dollar well, even if you get $100,000, you're not gonna manage that well because you don't get the fundamentals right. I'm paraphrasing, right? That was a powerful point. I think that's a point. Hopefully the software will clip that and we'll get it. What do you call it? A reel? That's what you call it, Jime? You're the social media person. All right. So we're gonna talk now. Oh, sorry. Is there anything you wanted to highlight as it relates to mortgages? Do you have any specials on mortgages or something you just want to leave with the audience as it relates to mortgages before we move on to credit unions?
Well, what we want, I mean, I'm sure we will mention the loans open house later, so I think we can get into to that when we mention that later.
Okay, no problem. The text says that there's a question, but should we get to the question now, Tech? Can we put up the question on the screen? Okay, if he'll put it on the screen and we'll answer it. The software allows us to do that. We're trying out this new thing. Hopefully it works. So let's talk. Oh, here you go. What's the penalty if I decide I don't want to use my foundation savings account towards a housing expense? That's a very good question, actually.
Yeah. So you can't use it for anything outside of housing expenses, because when you come to withdraw from the account, you have to show the documentation, what you're going to do with the money. Okay. The entire purpose of this account is home ownership, land ownership, home renovation, closing costs, anything that has to do with your first residential home or improving your home or constructing. That's the whole purpose of this account. So you will not be able to do anything else but use it for construction or home ownership or purchasing land or deposits or stuff like that. We do have other savings vehicles that are just as lucrative, so we would encourage you to pursue those.
Okay, I understand. All right, fair enough. But obviously, most people who sign up for that, that's what they use it for.
Yes.
All right, so it shouldn't be a problem. All right, let's talk about credit unions and why they matter. Antigua and Barbuda has both, of course, commercial banks and credit unions. For someone who has never been a member of a credit union, what is the single most compelling reason that they should choose Community First over a traditional bank? Whether it be, well, let me not call names of banks because I might forget and get into trouble with my banking friends. So let's go.
So our credit union has 30,000 owners. That's the first thing I would say to someone who's never had an account with a credit union. Each account holder is an owner. You're an investor in the credit union. In a traditional bank, you can't own shares. Right. You can't sit on a board. Typically, you need hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. Each individual in our credit union, each member is a shareholder in our organization. Your investment, when you open an account, you are opening permanent shares in the organization. The permanent shares allows us to give back better rates, dividends, services, and better investments in the community. So it's not just about you bringing your money to the credit union and it sits there. We find ways for you to make money on that money, not just by the 2% that normal financial institutions have. As I said, banks are owned by shareholders, credit unions are owned by their members. As our AGM, our annual general meeting, comes up, you'll understand that each member has a vote. So you get to dictate how the credit union moves. You get to dictate the direction the credit union goes when you come to the annual general meeting. Any profits or any surpluses that the credit union makes is returned to the members as dividends. So it goes right back to your account. And one of the things we also say, a credit union is not about maximizing the profits of our members, of our investors, because we're not a bank. We're not maximizing profits. We're maximizing the value of the members and strengthening their financial journey. That's the thing that we focus on, and that's why, and that's one of the things that we try to impart on our new members and persons that are looking to come in.
That speaks to the cooperative model, right?
Yes.
That's at the heart of every credit union, the idea that members are owners. How does that ownership model actually translate into real tangible benefits for the average member of the credit union? And you sort of, I think you sort of answered at least an element of it. But does that perhaps redound to benefits in terms of you being able to perhaps have a greater capacity to borrow, or are there any other tangible benefits other than getting?
That's an amazing question, because we would have just adjusted our lending threshold for mortgages, adjusted it up because of our new our asset base,
Right.
and our membership base. So we can now lend more, and we also adjusted our interest rates lower because of it. So the more members that we have, the more investments that our members make, is the more that we can adjust our interest rates, the more that we can lend, the more that we can create wealth for our members.
Excellent. By the way, how is that determined? Is the central bank involved in that process? How does that work? That's sort of tangential to what we're talking about, but my mind is working.
I think that is done at the board and the managerial level, and then approved by the FSRC.
Oh, okay, got you. I understand. What is that threshold, by the way? Can you say what's the maximum you all are allowed to lend?
I don't think I can say that right now.
You don't think you can say that right now? All right.
We'll move on. I'm pretty sure you understand that certain things we can't say, but it's a lot higher than we normally do.
I understand. Community First is the largest credit union. I think I mentioned that earlier. You didn't challenge me, so I'm assuming that I think you sort of said that. Anyway, you confirmed that. It's a significant achievement. What has driven that growth? What's responsible, you think? What distinguishes Community First Cooperative Credit Union from any of the others, whose names I shall not mention?
Well, I mean, to having over 30,000 members and an asset base of just about $500 million, the credit union has shown that we're inclusive. We have shown that we are encouraging all members from all walks of life to come in and see what facilities and what products best suit them and everyone is treated the same. I'm pretty sure today we had a testimony from a member who was trying to, I think he owns a luxury car business because of tourism. So he has rentals for luxury cars and different things like that. So he wanted to purchase another one. And one of our loan officers was on vacation. And she came off vacation to ensure that he got that vehicle before he got his contract. So different things. Yes. So our team goes the extra mile for our members. And I think the word of mouth aspect of it is what has spread and ballooned the excitement for the credit union and Community First, I should say, in Antigua again.
Would you say it's more personal in terms of relationship development than commercial bank?
Yes. You see, you call the credit union, and sometimes our phones are busy because everybody's calling. But one of the best things about the credit union is having a real conversation with someone that's not just trying to put you as a number on a balance sheet, but trying to see how they can help you and improve your life.
Yeah, understood. As you mentioned, balance sheet and shareholding and all of that, my mind goes back to that transaction that made the news a week and a half ago, give or take, of a certain bank that was selling its assets and so on. But that's a whole different conversation. That won't happen with Community First, right?
No. We're strong.
All right. Let's talk about the AGM.
Yes.
All right, you can pivot to that. Now, an AGM can sound like a corporate boardroom affair that doesn't concern the average member. First, make it their business to attend the AGM.
So it's going to be our 44th and 45th AGM in one. The AGM is basically the most important event in the life of the credit union annually. That's where we speak about the financial health of the credit union, the compliance, the nominating committee where we nominate persons to boards and committees, That is one of the most important events in the credit union. So that's why we have been campaigning hard for members to come, because we want, especially our new members, we want them to see the level of involvement that takes place in the credit union, the level of growth that is taking place, and why you should be excited to be a part of the credit union.
Okay, sounds fantastic. Listen, now with respect to the annual general meeting, you have an option to be there physically as well as online.
Yes, we do stream the annual general meeting on Zoom.
Now, for younger members who've never attended an AGM before, what is your personal pitch for them to get in the room? I mean, people are busy, come to a meeting. Is it, why bother? What would be your selling point to them, or points?
It's a superb networking opportunity. Remember, I said we have members from all walks of life. We have lawyers, we have MPs, we have contractors, we have insurance agents, we have members from different walks of life. You have a prime opportunity to network with members you traditionally don't see outside of probably standing in line, going to the teller, and having real conversations with them. You don't know what can balloon from it. You can also ask questions about how you might join a committee, because persons think that joining a committee or joining a board is, that's it. You just join the committee, you make decisions. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of history, learning the history of the credit union movement, the principles, the working principles, that's the governing body, and core values of credit unions. Understanding why we do what we do and why helping people is the core mantra of the credit union. A lot of persons that sit on boards, they get so excited that they do 2 terms with the boards and the committee. So it's a great way to learn more about the credit union movement and how you can get involved in the credit union movement.
Are there any specific key decisions that are going to be made at this year's AGM as opposed to any other AGM, or can you think of any off the top?
I don't think that we're going to have any key decisions. I know we're going to have a lot of questions about debit card and credit cards, naturally, but I think those would be the most pertinent questions that we would get.
Right. Now, as you mentioned that, well, credit/debit. That was on my list of things, so I might as well get it out of the way. What's happening with that?
I can only say 2 words: coming soon.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. That's fine. Now, a loan open house. I think there was a graphic that the tech had put up. There we are. It's happening on the 19th. That's not Friday coming. That's the following Friday. The Friday before Father's Day. I'm just putting that out there for all the fathers out there. All right. The Friday before Father's Day. So bear that in mind. It's a good time to go to CFCCU's open house. And remember that Father's Day is on Sunday. I don't know if y'all going to approve any loans that fast, but I'm just putting it out there. So a loans open house is a fantastic concept. Can you walk through our viewers and listeners tonight about what this event is all about and what can they expect on that day, and who you catering for? That's
we're catering for all our members. That's the first thing. The reason that the loans open house came about, as I said, our loans team is swamped and they don't have the opportunity to cater for walk-ins a lot. So this is an opportunity for persons who are probably typically busy, who can't take an appointment date and come and sit down. They can come throughout the course of the day, walk with their documents. We've been telling members about what to bring. Walk with their documents and start their loan application right there. Because starting the application, having your documents, you're already 3/4 of the way there. With that, your credit check and everything like that. But once you have started the application, everything else should be smooth sailing. The most important thing about the open house is the one-stop shopping that we will have. So we have persons that are selling land that will be having booths selling from different prices, different areas. We have construction companies, both private and government. So we do have GAM, we have National Housing, we have Chopper. They will be there. We have insurance agents there as well. So you literally can get a quote for a piece of land. You get a quote for how much how much it's going to cost you to build a home on the spot. You can get a quote for your insurance on the spot, and you can start your your mortgage application on the spot, having all of these documents on hand. So we're bringing all of our vendors together to simplify the process for you, if that's if that's the course that you desire. One of the things it would be remiss of me not to mention is one of the most alarming things we have noticed at the credit union right now: men are not building homes. Men are not coming in to borrow for mortgages. The women are dominating the portfolio when it comes to borrowing. Women are dominating when it comes to taking a risk to open a business and having a business loan. You see a man coming and borrow to buy a car. You see a man coming to travel. We're not seeing men coming to borrow to buy a piece of land or to build their first home. And we want men to steer away from trying to build out of pocket. That is a dangerous, dangerous thing you are doing.
Why is that? Why is it dangerous? I was speaking to someone the other day. She's and she could be my mom, and she's not poor by any stretch. So she's very good with managing money. Very, very good with managing money. I'm choosing my words carefully here. Just figure, hey, you build your house on your own. And I've heard others say that. Or maybe not build your house on your own, but maybe start the foundation, maybe build it halfway, carry up some of the walls, and then you go to the lending institution for the rest, because they're going to kill you with interest, and all that money you could use to do this, that, or the other. So but you just said that's a dangerous thing. Why?
You need to hold on to as much capital as you can, especially in these times. Let's have an example. Let's say you would have constructed your home in February of 2020 and you paid out of pocket, and COVID started in March of 2020. You lost your job in March of 2020. You would have needed to sell a house just to survive. Your dream house just built, you'd have needed it just to survive. Whereas if you use a mortgage from a financial institution, you would have had your capital, you'd have been able to come in and do a moratorium, you would have been able to negotiate probably the interest rate and have the flexibility that you would not have had if you built out of pocket. Building out of pocket eliminates flexibility unless you're Elon Musk. It completely eliminates your flexibility.
And most of us are not.
Correct.
even though I hear they say come in for Chogum. So here, I don't know. You're so here. As you mentioned him, but we're not getting sidetracked. I take the point you're making, a very, very valid point. That's a very interesting example, Jime. Thanks for that. People often avoid conversations about loans, whether it be because of fear of rejection, fear of debt. Some people just don't like the idea. The thought of being in debt freaks them out. And just the fear of the process itself. Oh, Lord, they're going to want to know, how many times I go to the loo on a daily basis. What are some of the things that you can say this evening and encourage individuals to engage in with your loans officers, like Miss Page and Miss Drew Christopher and so on, about applying and taking that bold step and getting a loan to do something productive with their lives?
Well, as I said, with the advent of the credit bureau, it has simplified the borrowing process. So you no longer need to. It's not going to be as invasive as it used to be.
Okay.
What it's going to be is going to be determined by your credit score, and how if you're high risk or low risk depending on your credit score.
Right.
I think individuals or members or persons in general need to not think of questions about lending being invasive, but think of it as a wellness check on your financial health. Think of it as where you are in your financial journey, and if there are hiccups, how you can adjust them. Because most of the questions, I don't think they're invasive, but they're reality checks. That I think that's where the hard part comes in. Most of the questions are reality checks, and you're telling persons about their lifestyle, their spending, their debts, and hearing it is different than living it sometimes. Hearing someone else telling you, this maybe not going to get you to that threshold where we can lend you this money right now. It's a hard pill to swallow. So
Right.
I think, again, it comes back to financial literacy and ensuring that when you're looking to build a home and you're looking to make major purchases, that your finances are in check. Your loans are in check. You don't have excess frivolous loans. So I think those are some of the things that might not have you so scared when we're talking about them.
It's similar to people who don't want to go, men who don't want to go and do a prostate exam because they don't. And then by the time when they find out, it's too late, or
it's too late.
They have a problem. So it's sort of similar. It's better to know and deal with it than not to know.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. See, I learned anything from you. Learn how to use these very powerful real life analogies. Now, with respect to the loans open house, where is it going to be? Just to tell us some details on that, and I'll ask the tech if he can just pop that up on the screen so that our viewers can see it one more time before we look to wrap.
Sure. So it's going to be at our credit center parking lot. That's next door to our headquarters. That's on Old Palm Road. So at the open house, you'll be able to get on-the-spot pre-approvals. You'll be able to start your application. You can meet our vendors. We're going to have a lot of vendors from auto, travel, home ownership, land, insurance, and different things that have to do with home ownership. We're going to have a lot of vendors. You can if you're not a member, you can also sign up to be a member on the spot as well. You can do that as well. So we're gonna have it's gonna be a full 360 of things that that's gonna be going on. So as I said, in auto we have Hadid and Hani Motors. They're with you as well. We'll be having Pinder. There's a lot of land that's going to be available to sale. We're going to roll out that in a couple of days because one of the things that we've realized, we do have members who want land. They just don't know where to go. So one of the mandates that our department has done is to try to match our members with private entities that are selling land. Right. So we can and at reasonable prices or at prices that they can afford.
If you lenders or borrowers?
Yes.
Borrowers.
Yes, borrowers.
Right, borrowers. Yeah. Okay.
So if you would have come into the credit union races, you would have seen that we have done a partnership with Sotheby's Realty, where we had lands for sale in Clarks Hill and at Hodges Bay, and we've had a lot of responses for those. And we're also going to be rolling out with other lands for different companies. So we're matching the sellers with the buyers, and we're just facilitating the lending. So we're making everything a little easier for you. You can also see where these lands are at the open house for these prospective persons. So that's something that's different for a typical open house or a mortgage fair, as you would say. That most mortgage fairs, you come, you see a vehicle, you see a vendor, but we are taking it a step further, having you come see land that you may like, see the prices that you can afford, and going to Miss Page or Mrs. Drew Christopher, sitting down, starting your land application, or if you want to pursue getting the house as well, you can go to Chapel and go to National Housing right there on the spot, see what they can do, go across the street and get an insurance quote, and start your home ownership and be in a home before the end of the year.
That sounds like a very compelling proposition, Mr. Hunt. So as we look to close our interview, I said this is going to be, I think originally when we were doing the pre-show discussion, I said it was going to be half an hour. It's almost 9 o'clock, believe it or not.
Yes.
It's 40 minutes. It's amazing how time flies, but it's been quite useful in terms of discussions. But just one bit of financial advice that you would give everyone who's watching, paying attention to this. Something that is actionable that they can do before the week is out, and give the audience a strong takeaway that reinforces community first, community focused brand. Community first, community focused brand. a bit of a tongue twister, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, of course. I would say open a retirement account. That's something I've preached to everyone from 18 to 55 that you qualify for. Open a retirement account. It's not too early to save to retirement, and it's never too late to save for retirement as well. And it's never too little to contribute to retirement.
Okay. All right. Simple, straight to the point. So contact numbers. Did you share any contact numbers before somebody who may want to call?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So you can call us at 481-3850 or 481-4000, or you can email my department at marketing@cfccuonline.com, and we respond all the time.
All right, fantastic. Jime Hunte, I want to thank you so very much. This has been a very enriching experience, no pun intended. Really, really useful discussions and useful perspectives, and whatever they're paying you, they need to consider. Lord, I'm gonna get you in trouble. Well, maybe
No,
not you in trouble.
I love that suggestion. Don't worry.
Whatever they're paying you, tell Mr. Spencer he might want to. Cause you're doing your work. You're doing your work. It's fantastic. All right. Thank you so much for this discussion. And we'll continue. I mean, maybe we can come up with something where we can have an ongoing conversation.
I would love to go deep into financial literacy and budgeting with you guys. So
yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. We'll see how that works. Because you know how it is. Some folks may not necessarily want to, you know how it is. We love our controversy, we love our politics, we love our whatever. But hey, we have to have a roof over our head. We need to have food in the fridge, and we need to make sure APA don't come and chop. So all those things are important so that we can follow the controversy. Anyway, Jime Hunte, thanks so much. You and all that. By the way, is there anyone you want to shout out? Any member of your team?
Of course.
I meant to do that. I forgot.
I want to say good night to our CEO, of course, Mr. Carl Spencer, our COO, Miss Lenore Murphy, Chesia Gordon, she also works with us, Nora Christopher, the entire loans team, the entire member services team, and everybody that works in the background to make sure that everything at Community First works as smooth as it does.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Jime Hunte, Marketing and Business Development Officer at Community First Cooperative Credit Union, CFCCU for short. Blessings. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. And to the team there at CFCCU, I don't know if Tariq wants to comment here. I'm just gonna say this while we go to a few messages, and there, I'm gonna cover a couple of stories very quickly. I'm gonna cover a couple of stories. I did promise that I would have a comment on a few stories, locally, regionally, internationally, and so I will fulfill that promise. But one thing I noticed from the discussion with Jime, something's going on with our men. Our men are not they're not building homes. I mean, it's a generalized comment, but I think in terms of ratio, in terms of compared to the women are the ones doing things. And the men, I don't know, not so much. And as I drive around the country, I'm sorry, I know I may sound like a broken record, and maybe that will be my stock in trade as far as being a media character or personality in Antigua and Barbuda, is that this morning on my way to work, I saw two men who were dressed obviously for work, well, what I thought was work, or I believe is work, and the two of them stand up at the corner and they're smoking. Back to that smoking story. They're smoking, and I see a lot of young men going to work. They stand up at the corner waiting on the bus and they're smoking. Makes me wonder where men are going. I don't see the women doing that too much, and I know the women probably have their vices too. We all as human beings do. But I'm just, somehow it just seems like a rudderless, directionless situation that's enveloping our men. And you just heard Jime Hunte say, a lot of men not coming in for mortgages. They're not investing in the future. They're coming for the car, which will mash up in no time or depreciate or both. But they're not, investing in business or in property. And that, as a man, that troubles me. As a father of a daughter, that troubles me. I have friends who have daughters. That troubles me because our daughters, God, it troubles me. Anyway, Tariq, we'll share a couple of quick messages, and when I come back, Oh, I want to hear the other side. Ah, okay, break. So we'll talk about this on the other side, and we'll touch a couple of stories that I think are of particular interest, including a FIFA referee from Africa who was denied access to the United States and fulfill his dream to referee in the FIFA World Cup because of a certain, you know what I'm going to say, right? Anyway, after this.
Every home starts with a plan and a solid foundation. With Community First Foundation Savings Account, you can save for down payments, closing costs, and major home repairs one step at a time. Designed for first-time buyers and homeowners alike, this account encourages disciplined saving with a simple start and 12-month savings period that keeps your goals on track. Build smarter, save stronger with a foundation savings only at Community First Cooperative Credit Union. Because strong homes start with strong foundations.
Are you ready to paint? Casada Paints and Supplies Inc. is the perfect place to start. We are the official distributors of Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams, with over 150 years of innovation and experience, offers more than 1,500 paint colors to choose from. Our color palettes are handpicked by professional designers, making it easy to coordinate colors throughout your home or business. Visit us on the Utility Drive, Casada Gardens, or call 562-9450. All you have to do is visit or call Casada Paints.
All right, I'm just here scanning through the local newspapers. We'll start with the Daily Observer very quickly. The headline there, you might know, you may not have seen it. I don't know how many folks look at the newspapers these days, because everything is on your phone, and we have news companies or news entities in the country that just pushes things to the phone. But I want to just shout out the folks at the Daily Observer and the Point Express who make an effort to put together a daily newspaper. It's something that should be encouraged. It's important. It's an important part of our functioning democracy, however imperfect you think it is. And I'm just saying that for what it's worth. Calls for Parliamentary Committee able to summon witnesses. That's on page 3 of today's Daily Observer. And review constituency boundaries urgently by the Commonwealth Group. I think this is advice that we got from the Commonwealth at the end of the last election and maybe the one before that. I don't know why we're taking so long to review the boundaries. One constituency have 2,000 people, another one have 5 or 6 or whatever. It's crazy. I think St. George's is the largest one, maybe, and St. John's Rural West, I think. Those are the 2 larger ones. And then you have St. Philip's South, and you have, who else is a small? City East, where I grew up, is a small constituency. So we need to do something about them constituencies. And so hopefully the Commonwealth is listened to and something happens in that regard. Diplomats cap wall to build momentum for Shogum 2026. This is a piece here by Kishan Joseph of the Daily Observer. The organizers of the artwork outside the Antigua Recreation Grounds has, I should be looking up in the camera, let's see, I'm losing my thing here, has invited residents to add a bottle cap and to build up to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting that takes place, I believe it's in November. Organizers say the project is about education and engagement. All right, project organizer Calvin Pilgrim, my classmate, here, said that the mural was designed to draw public attention into the months ahead to the summit. All right. The main importance of the mural is to educate people and to get the momentum going about CHOGM 2026. You want to know what CHOGM means? It's Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. That's basically it. And you'll see the image there. It's opposite the Red Cross. At least that's how it was described to me. And you can see the CHOGM logo there. That won that competition that was launched some time ago. So when you pass Recreation Grounds, have a look. And I'm not sure exactly how you can arrange to put the bottle cap. Hopefully I'll get a chance to do that sometime soon before it all gets filled up. Okay, so that's what's in today's Daily Observer. Of course, there's a lot more in the paper today, but in the interest of time, I'm not reviewing the papers today per se. I just want to get to it. 2026 Queen contestants unveiled. And they're actually in front of the very... No, that's not true. That's not true. I'm chatting foolishness. On the cover of the Point Express is also that same mural with the CHOGM logo with the bottle caps, which I think is a creative thing, a creative way of handling. I think it's an environmentally friendly, creative way of, displaying art as well as drawing attention to the CHOGM logo. But the 2026 Queen contestants have been unveiled. I'll just go through them very quickly. Denisha Samuel, Miss Liat Air. Kanisha James, Miss Allmart. Quinella Williams, Miss Antigua Port Authority. Christine Powell, Miss ACB Caribbean. Shavisa Gaspar, remember her? Famous, very well-known personality here in Antigua and Barbuda. Miss Exotic Antigua. Lovely, lovely lady. They're all lovely ladies, I'm sure. I guess I'm speaking like that about Shavisa because I think among my favorite interviews I've ever done is with Shavisa Gaspar. Aaliyah Taylor, Miss Cool and Smooth, and Zane Frederick, Miss Furniture Gallery. All right, so those are the 2026 Queen contestants. Chief of Surgery at Sir Lester Bird gains international recognition. That's the person of Dr. Vanetta George. She's the Chief of Surgery at the Sir Lester Bird Medical Center, and she's been selected as a finalist for the prestigious Global Doctor Innovation and Leadership Award 2026, presented by Caribbean Global Awards. And the reason why I chuckle, in case you're wondering why I'm laughing, it's not anything to do with it's something to do with Dr. George, but not negative. I saw her on the weekend, and we had a small talk, and I said, I was telling her that I called her name fairly recently to a colleague of hers, and the person was saying, why am I always hiking and why am I always doing this? I said, I'm doing all these things to stay far from people like Dr. George because I don't want Dr. George to have to cut me open because something is wrong. All right. Of course, she took it in the spirit in which it was given, but from all reports, she's a fantastic surgeon, and I wish her all the best in this competition. Whenever I'm sure the story has more about it, but again, in the interest of time, I'm going to move quickly along. So those are some of the stories in the Daily Observer. One of the things that caught my attention as well is the Minister of Social and Urban Transformation, Honorable Rawdon Turner, who promised me an interview, by the way, now that elections are all over. So look forward to that interview with my current parliamentary representative. Let's see. Yeah, Centenarian Week. This is Centenarian Week. And so I just want to say a special shout out to all the centenarians in Antigua and Barbuda. As we observe Centenarian Week in Antigua and Barbuda, I pause to reflect on the extraordinary men and women who've reached the remarkable milestone of 100 years and beyond, some of them. Our centenarians are more than a witness to history. They are living history. They have endured hardship, celebrated triumphs, raised families, built communities, and helped shape the nation that we proudly call home. That's just, a very perfect statement. So big up to all the centenarians, far and wide, here in Antigua and Barbuda and in the diaspora. And you can have a look at that piece in the Point Express. So those are the two papers. Tariq, what's up? You're there? You want to join me in my commentary, especially about our men? What's going on with our men, Tariq? You have any thoughts on that before I go to the international stories and then shut my trap? Because it's 9 o'clock. We're not hearing you, Tariq.
Can you hear me better now? Can you actually
I can hear you now. We sound perfect. Like the Verizon, one of them commercials. Can you hear me now?
I think it's Sprint. One of them.
One of them.
One of them, which is now defunct.
Yeah.
But Daren, we saw the writing on the wall with this one. A mentor of mine once said that saw the decline in the investment in men And I think that what ended up happening, or what has ended up happening, is there's been a generation of young men that have not had the same sort of emphasis placed on them in the way that it once was. Like, I think we overcorrected in making sure that young women had the ability to actually access the same sorts of resources that young men had. I think that we overcorrected, and as a result, we now have a generation of young men that, or at least some young men, where there is a feeling of entitlement in many ways, and then they just don't know because they weren't guided the same way. And I only say that because I think about my father and my father's generation, and then I definitely think about my grandfather's generation, and I think about the resources that were expended in my grandfather's generation for young men, as opposed to young women, virtually none. And then I think about my mother's generation, my father's generation, a little bit more, but not as much. This generation is, I think, probably the only generation that where there's a little bit of parity, and even still, you can't, if you fail to reference the institutional differences and the fact that, well, the most important people are still men, like, you know, then you miss the forest for the trees. But you have to also recognize that, well, you educated a huge sets of generation over 20 years and did not focus much on young men in the way that you probably could have. That's not me saying that men are oppressed in any way, because I don't think we're there yet. Somehow, no. I don't think we're there yet.
The ladies will say it's still a man's world, because not many of them are boardrooms, and not many of them are. Well, I really do think, though, that it's a little more lopsided than that. I think, sorry, you're making a point. I don't want to.
No. I think what you're seeing and what those two things, those two realities are true. It is true that there are a lot more women than used to be in positions of power, but it is also true that the most important and most influential people and most influential positions are still held by men, and that is not poised to change, at least for the next 10 to 15 years. However, after that, I don't want to say all bets are off. I just want to say that, like, it might be a woman's world, and it's not a bad world to live in. You know, I quite love women that have
I suspect. Same here. Here to all the women, the women around the world. I suspect that if I'll say this much for women generally, if Kamala Harris was in the White House, we wouldn't have a war in Iran. And if Vladimir Putin, I know this is a huge stretch because Russia is a very patriarchal society.
Yeah.
Women have very few rights in Russia. Yeah. But if there was a woman in the Kremlin, which there has never been, we wouldn't have a war in Ukraine. I think women would probably be less inclined. Huh?
I disagree.
You disagree? You think we'd have more? You think Kamala would have gone to Iran? I don't think Kamala would have gone to Iran.
I absolutely think that Kamala would have gone to Iran, and I think we would have been out by now.
Why?
I said what I said. Because everything about Kamala Harris is no nonsense. Get it done right the first time. If you ain't get it done, bro, we're gonna have an issue. And you know that because of the many people who have quit under her tutelage. But it's okay. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
That being said, and I think that she would have, I think she could have, because let's be real, the Kremlin can't force it down your throat. I think she would have forced them to just do things differently, respectfully. All right. And if you didn't, like, what would be, I don't know that there would have been a difference, or that there could have been a difference.
In terms of what? In terms of Russia and Ukraine?
In terms
of Iran?
In terms of the iron fist with which Vladimir Putin rules. I think that Kamala Harris is actually more similar to that than many other world leaders, because I think that if she got the United States would be an entirely different place for everyone if Kamala Harris was president.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Just a couple of quick international stories, very quickly. Very good. Banter, crosstalk, whatever.
Sure, let's go.
the U.S. hits Iran. The CBC, that's the Canadian Broadcasting Network's news desk, confirmed that American forces hit targets inside Iran after an Apache helicopter went down over the coast of Oman. Apparently, it was on patrol, and Iran shot it down. The U.S. crew members are reported as safe. Just a couple of observations. One, Iran did come back and say they didn't intentionally shoot it down. I'm not entirely sure how you unintentionally shoot down something, unless, of course, it was a rogue element of the Iranian defense apparatus who decided to defy their leadership and just shoot the thing down. I don't know, but America responded, Mr. Trump responded, and he's trying to suggest that this is just a small tit for tat. The ceasefire is still in place. My overarching question on this, Tariq, isn't this the same Iranian Air Force / missile system defense setup that Mr. Trump said he destroyed?
Entirely decimated.
Okay.
All right, they could not come back. They could not come back. I don't know how they ended up shooting. What is this? A helicopter, Black Hawk.
Yeah,
Apache.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, the Apache, not the Black Hawk.
I don't know how they did that, but like, I mean, maybe it's bow and arrow, you know.
Maybe, considering their systems are all but obliterated, much like the nuclear weapons stockpile was obliterated last year when he attacked.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump obviously and his minions think that people are stupid. Anyway, don't start me on him.
I won't actually. I don't think we should have gone to the story because you have a lot more to say.
Yeah, I do, and I'm not going to do that tonight. Belfast protests. We're going through a whirlwind of story. Well, series of stories around the world. Vehicles were set on fire in Belfast, Ireland, and street clashes broke out after a severe knife attack. Political leaders and local police issued urgent appeals for peace as crowds clashed with security forces over the incident. There have been a number of knife attacks in Ireland and the United Kingdom lately, and in some cases they involve immigrants, and that just adds fuel to the fire. My concern is that you're going to have more and more right-wing, right-leaning parties taking control in Europe. France has a problem with, not Marine Le Pen. She has a replacement because she has a legal issue because of money she accepted from Russia.
Yes.
But apparently this new leader, he's a lot more polished, but he's still very much of the same mold, right-wing, anti-immigrant, anti-black, call it, some people would go right out and say racist politics. And that's France. And next door in economic powerhouse of Europe, Germany, the alternative for Germany, the AfD, they're basically the 2026 version of the Nazi party. That's my characterization of them. They may not like it, but that's the truth.
I think that's an unfair characterization.
You think so? You think the AfD is that? You think so? You don't think they're as extreme?
Well,
let me hear. Tell me.
We're not speaking about widespread death and a campaign against the death of like an entire set of people. We're like,
okay.
We have cameras now. If they were doing it, we would know. That's all I'm gonna say there. Come on.
Okay.
I do think that everybody has a mouth and everybody can say what they want to say, right? Everybody has a platform, and there are certain beliefs that have, in the last few years, been typically held behind closed doors that people now feel like they're able to share pretty openly. But realistically speaking, Daren, I don't know that France now is very different from France 10 years ago. Okay. I don't know that France, actually, I'll say France 20 years ago. Remember that it is only recently that they have even been able to come to grips with the whole idea of their detrimental contribution to the slave trade, and even that they haven't been able to say outright. Like, I'm only saying.
Yeah, they haven't paid back Haiti for the billions that Haiti paid them.
Yeah, and they never will pay back Haiti.
Yeah,
and they never will pay back Haiti. And in addition to that, as a revolutionary government, I think that that's one of the things that Haiti was prepared to not have happen, not have them pay them back. I think that that's pretty clear at this point in time. You can't. Well, I've never seen a slave master pay back their property.
Yeah, the world spins one way. But just very quickly before we move off of the AFD in Germany, because you made a point. You said I was unfair in my characterization, which is fine. But I will just say that when Hitler came to power, I believe it's in 1932, if I'm not mistaken. He wasn't saying the thing. He wasn't saying he's gonna go and do this, that, or the other. He didn't. He started with trying to address the global crisis and the crash of the stock market in 1929 and the impact it had on Germany with unemployment and inflation and so on. And so he built the superhighway and he dealt with a lot of infrastructural projects, put people to work. So he did a lot of those nuts and bolts things. It's as he got more entrenched into power and he established his dictatorship, things happen. No, I will agree. The AFD is probably, well, they're certainly not going to get away with what the Nazis got away with. I don't think so. But the mindset, anti-immigrant, it's them. They're the cause of all problems. The mindset is the same mindset. I'm sorry, that's my view.
Daren,
yeah,
hear me out.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah, it's gonna be an issue.
Yeah, no. Unlike some people, I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with me.
So behave. I
didn't call any names.
There are a few that we know that you would probably be speaking about. That being said, we're going out on. Honestly, Daren, if you took a lot of the sentiments being shared by the conservatives in the United States, the right-wing party in Europe, and some of the sentiments in the Caribbean, you would find that it's a lot more similar to how we feel as a general population in Antigua and Barbuda. Not maybe how you and many of your friends feel. However, I feel like if you pose that as a question, you will find that many more people than you'd think have a lot more anti-immigrant sentiment than we realize and or appreciate, and that's an issue. But I think that sometimes we those other places in a way that I know is probably not appropriate, given that in Antigua we tell Dominicans that they bang water come here.
Not Dominicans. We
tell Dominicans they bang water.
I don't think so. I think Dominicans, we tend to feel more of a kinship with Dominicans than, let's say, the large islands. But I think Antigua's got. I have heard somebody telling Dominicans. Not recently.
Instead of the low-hanging fruit, the Jamaicans, Guyanese, the people from Santo Domingo that they like to lambaste all the time. All right. Yeah. I said Dominicans because that's how close. That's how close. You're lucky we don't say, talk about the people from Old Road, but let's leave. Actually, they do. But let's go on.
You're not getting me in trouble with my good friend Jamal Pringle and his friends. Anyway.
What's up, Mr. Walker? We get in trouble with the Barbuda?
I don't want to get in trouble with them either. Definitely not. Anyway, one of the stories that caught my attention on the international scene was the New York Times reporting that the referee has been denied entry into the United States for the FIFA World Cup. Omar Abdul Kidir Artan. He's from Somalia, and he was denied entry. He flew into the Miami International Airport, but he was stopped and sent back to Turkey after listen to this, after an 11-hour interrogation by U.S. border officials. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection stated that he was deemed inadmissible due to unspecified security vetting. Somalia is currently subject to strict travel bans under the Trump administration. He was named Africa's Referee of the Year in 2025, and Artan, historic choice, slated to become the first Somali ever to referee at a men's World Cup finals. So He apparently was quoted as saying that, he didn't. Here's a very positive statement. I don't have the statement here, but essentially he said, "Look, I'm moving on to the next one. There'll be more opportunities to come, and he'll be fine." But it's so unfortunate, huh? Mind you, I don't work for U.S. Border Protection. I don't know what they saw. Maybe they did see something legitimate.
I think
I
that's
don't
the
know.
approach to take. I really think that's the approach to take.
Okay.
The Trump administration in 2026 is a known quantity.
Yeah.
United States administration in 2026 is a known quantity. And I think most people have recognized that. So given the fact that he was not the preference of people who would be let into the United States,
Right.
I think that he was prepared for that. He is probably also, like many of his African and non-Western friends, been denied entry to the United States and Europe multiple
Right.
times. Because
Right.
something that we don't recognize as much in the Caribbean, and I only realized this when I got married, is that lots of people from the African continent, lots of people from literally any other country that's not in the OECS for the most part, or maybe CARICOM to a certain extent, they get denied visas routinely.
He got a visa now. He got a 3-month visa. I think it was the Kenyan embassy in Nairobi. He got a visa, and somehow, somewhere along, he got I think it was a 3-month multiple entry visa. And so they did make sure that things were in place. So the question is, he became a terrorist between then and now? Come on now.
No, I think that when you have the power, you can do what you want to do. I cannot speak about situations, but I personally know of 11-hour interviews that happen. Call that
You're a
routine.
lawyer. You've probably been called in because of your profession, right? You're a lawyer.
Fact, I had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do. I just happened to learn about it.
Okay.
I just happened to learn about it. Look at that. All right. That being said, but yes, that is routine, and that is on the lower end, if we're going to be honest.
That's very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And speaking about Kenya, I think there was a story about some protests in Kenya. They seem to have protests every now and again in Kenya. I don't know what's up with that. I don't. Oh dear. I thought that was one of the stories I had in my list of stories to share. But there's some protests going on in Kenya. Unfortunately, I can't speak to it with any specificity at the moment. And our time is actually out. We're supposed to be here now.
We're supposed to be. Oh, look at us, just shooting whatever. 20 minutes over.
But final point. Did you see? Oh, I know I have something to say. I know I have something to say, but I'm going to be very quick. I don't know what's going on in America.
Okay.
Actually, I think I know what's going on in America. But the 60 Minutes situation and what's happening with CBS News and what's happening with oligarchs and their relationship with media entities. And the same Barry Weiss, who is over CBS News, apparently might very well be also over CNN, because it's all going to be a part of one massive conglomerate controlled by Larry Ellison, one of the world's richest men. Yeah, I pay attention to a lot of things, my friend, and I'm watching that very closely. Hopefully we'll have a live on Thursday, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the Scott Pelley situation saddened me. It saddened me because 60 Minutes was my benchmark when it came to journalism and investigative journalism. It's the gold standard. It is still doing well after how many years? 60 Minutes has been around for longer than I've been alive.
For a while.
And what is happening to it now is absolutely tragic. But we'll certainly I'm watching this space very, very carefully. And not to mention, since we're talking about the media, Kristen Welker and her interview with that baby, who so happens to be the president of the United States, where he basically tried to bully her. And I admire the way she stood up. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I'll let you can share your thoughts and then we can wrap.
I think that you're speaking like you're too removed from that entire situation, because that's analogous to a situation that I know of. But I'll leave that alone.
You mean the one where I was told that I don't love my country because I disagreed with a certain political leader?
That's not what I was saying. But if that's what you're speaking about, I was speaking about the entire situation where there is a conglomerate that can control the media in Antigua and Barbuda, the media space in Antigua and Barbuda, for the most part. But okay, cool. Let's go. Let's move on.
Which conglomerate that?
Which conglomerate that?
Yeah.
There are a few people. I think there are a few people in Antigua who are positioned well enough that they can do so. All right. I think so. And I think that we sometimes, and this is not Daren, you don't have to say anything here. I can say what it. Right. All right, cool. I think that we sometimes give them a pass or expect that these things are happening all of the other places except here, where we can actually see it because it's your neighbor or it's your friend or it's a person that we know all around. And if short shirt have a lot of songs. Anyway, there is a regarding the media and Scott Pelley. I'm actually not surprised. I think we saw that happening. I think Donald Trump was very clear that in order for you to operate as a successful company in the United States, you either needed to have a very good lawyer or be willing to acquiesce. And I don't think that ABC is convinced that they have the best lawyers. So they are
ABC or CBS?
CBS. Well, ABC, CBS, CNN, at this point,
all
even
of them,
Fox. Right? That's interesting, actually. Newsmax, all of the usual suspects, and then there's some. But Daren, I think if I may say this, I think that's why it's important that you say the thing, and you say the thing pretty clearly, and you say the thing regardless of how people feel, because we would not have been able to see just how unhinged the president of the some people would not have been able to see just how unhinged the president of the United States was without certain interviews and without seeing certain actions. And I think that we need to be like I think that we're doing an amazing job. You're doing an amazing job here at Twin Island Media in general, even before this and before that. But I think that we need to be very clear, so that does not turn into what Antigua is, because the fact is we've seen what this looks like, and even though there are situations which may be analogous, it's not the exact same situation, and we still have quite a bit of hope. All right, you don't feel like you will not be able to eat the next day, literally eat the next day, because you speak out against a particular official or a particular entity. All right, and I think that's what's missing, or that's what's under attack in the United States in a way that many people have not seen it before. So, saying all of that to say, the mission here at Twin Island Media does the job and does it perfectly, in fact.
Right. We thank you very much, Tariq, and thank you for not just humoring me, but engaging and having this conversation here tonight. Folks, we're gonna wrap. We continue the programming. We'll let you know what's gonna happen for the balance of the week, while we keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening here in Antigua and Barbuda. There are some interesting stories that I think I want to follow up on, and once I'm able to connect with the persons involved, of course, we'll use that as an opportunity to do another live very soon. Thank you so much for being a part of our discussion tonight, and thanks for all those who would have engaged. Thanks to Jime Hunte and our friends at Community First Cooperative Credit Union for being a part of our discussion. And it was a good one. I can see many of you would have at least been listening and would have benefited from those conversations. All right, so have a good night, everybody. Be safe and God bless. And we'll see each other again soon here on Twin Island Media Live. Remember to tell your friends who are not on Facebook that we also have our videos uploaded to YouTube, so they can just go to YouTube, search for Twin Island Media, and like our videos, share our videos, so we can, more people can know that we're still producing content, and that obviously augurs well for our ability to tell advertisers and our sponsors that, hey, folks do pay attention to independent and balanced journalism or media in Antigua and Barbuda. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.